it going?
Yep.
Okay. Hey there, it is for Towers Films and
Doug 218. What's going on?
welcome back. It is Masterchef Season 10, episode number 14. And it is Sweet Week.
The episode is titled Let Them Eat Cake.
That's for a good reason, too, because the contestants have to make, or replicate, actually, cake that was on, that they picked, they got to choose. There's a whole range of cakes that they had in the front.
From the simplest
To the most difficult.
to the most difficult.
And they couldn't just, like, all run up. They had to pick them in order. So they had, like, these, like, candles that they picked and had the number on it, which shows which order they were going to pick their cake.
Exactly.
Dorian got number 1, and I think it was Wuda, I think got the last one, which was like number 12.
Yeah.
So, or 11, which was interesting, you know, so he was like, I gotta wait, kind of thing. So, they all start picking their cakes, and Dorian picked champagne cake.
Beautiful pink cake, lovely detailing, and it resonated with her because
Her mom.
her personal story, her mother died of cancer, so, you know, this kind of touched home for her. Noah chose the hardest one, the gâteau
The opera cake.
and this thing was beautiful, but the technical skill.
It was the most difficult out of all the cakes.
Well, even Gordon.
But he even said he wanted to challenge himself.
Well, that's what he said. It's like either I go big,
Or go home. It's
Or go
Masterchef.
home.
Like,
You
why
know?
be here if you're not willing to challenge yourself?
and Suba, he took the pineapple upside down cake.
Yeah, which is one of the easier cakes. But, because, as he said before, he's like, I'm not very good at baking. I always have problems with it, kind of thing. So he's figured he'd never made this cake before, and he doesn't do a lot of baking. So he picked the upside down pineapple cake because he figured it was a safer bet.
But what was also funny, Wooda's not a baker either, and he also wanted the pineapple upside down cake.
But not because it was easier, but I think just because he's not much of a baker and,
Yeah.
and all that. So he was like, that's the one I wanted.
and you heard him do that, Suba, you know. So Gordon tells him you've got 75
I
minutes.
can't even remember what Wuda ended up with.
Um,
What cake did he pick in the end?
I know Bree had the.
We had the carrot cake.
Jamie had the German chocolate cake. Oh, sorry, Fred had the German chocolate cake.
Yeah. Sarah had double fudge.
Victoria had the sponge cake. Where is Wuda's cake?
Renee had a cheesecake.
We'll
I
get
can't
to that.
remember which one. We'll get to it if we find it. Anyway, they had 75 minutes to replicate these cakes. So, I mean, and when Sarah brought her cake back, she thought it was buttercream frosting on it. And it was a berry. I think it was a mixed berry. It was like a blueberry cake. And she was mistaken. It was actually a meringue buttercream, which is one of the most difficult frostings to make. So she was like, oh no. And she said she did like 3 different tries, and the color was nowhere near, like it was like a purple, but it was nowhere near what the actual frosting looked like at all. So she was kind of disappointed, and it was actually melting on the cake as she was sitting there because she actually was putting the frosting on too
It was too
early.
hot.
The cake was still warm,
Yeah.
so it was actually melting.
And the colors were starting to bleed. And
Yeah, and it wasn't even like, it was like the original cake was like a real rich purple, and this was more like almost like a lavender, lighter color purple. So it wasn't even anything like.
And let's call it what it was. This frosting was almost like her Achilles heel because she tried 2 or 3 different variations of this, and she could not get the taste and the color that she wanted.
No.
I did like how Nick kind of went at his cake. He pulled it apart layer by layer and tasted
it separately.
And Joe even said that was smart.
It was smart because that way you know it. Yes, you can taste the whole cake, but each individual layer, so that you can replicate it properly, you need to taste individually so you get the ingredients right. So that was actually very smart of Nick to do.
We found out Sherry She's a
baker.
And to find out that she baked her
wedding cake.
Her wedding cake, which she had a devil's food cake, and it was beautiful. The chocolate.
Like they even said, it looked professionally done. It was very pretty cake.
Some of them had issues. Some of them.
There was quite a few who actually had issue. Like when Brie was cooking her carrot cake, she was letting it cool, and she had the icing, and she was waiting, which is a good idea. I mean, they did put it in the blast chillers, but I guess it was still warm when she took it out, and so she was holding on to it, and she's like, it's still warm, but she was really running out of time to ice it, and she wanted to get it like the carrot cake, like pristine, and so Joe and I think Gordon came over, you know how they do, and came over, and they're like, what are you doing? You have like 10 minutes. And she's like, well, the cake's still warm. She didn't want to put the icing on it because it'll melt.
And they're like, how long would it take?
And they're like, how long would it take you to make it look like that? And she goes, about 10 minutes. And they're like, well, there's your answer, basically. So she actually did end up having a problem. The icing did not stay on because the cake was still too warm. So what are you going to do? It's either not going to ice it at all, or it looked like it almost looked like she ran out of icing, but that was because the cake was still warm.
Yeah, it looked incomplete.
So, but... and they did call her on it, and I think they weren't 100% with her flavor either of the cake.
They said it kind of was...
dense?
Dense.
It was dense.
And even though carrot cakes are dense...
They're dense, but not like... was it though when they said it tastes like pudding? Yeah. It was that kind of consistency, like heavy... And it shouldn't have been.
No.
Yes, carrot cake's denser than, say, like an Angel Food, but it shouldn't taste like pudding kind of thing. And that's kind of, I think, what Joe or Owen said. It kind of had a pudding, almost like texture.
Micah did a coconut cake.
And it was pretty. He did a good job.
But, like they said, it does his age and inexperience. He did well, but it's showing. It shows to a certain degree.
Well, he's only, 18?
He's the one of the youngest.
Or Bree's pretty young, too, though. And then when Super brought up his upside-down pineapple cake, and he says to them, I'm not much of a baker and all that kind of stuff, and they basically called him out on that.
They said,
stop saying that.
We don't want to hear it anymore.
Well, I don't really blame them.
This is Masterchef 10. We don't need to hear the excuses.
Right.
You know what? This is your challenge. You have to complete it. Win, lose, or draw, you have to do it.
Right. Like, a lot of things. Like, look, Wood is a vegetarian. He can't even eat meat, yet he doesn't keep using that as an excuse.
Well, and he'll say... Yeah.
And, like, Micah and Noah are both allergic to shellfish. They couldn't even taste one of their last dishes, yet they didn't keep bringing that up and use it as a crutch. So, and the problem is Soup is using that too much as a crutch.
He's beating it like a dead horse. It's like, you gotta leave it alone.
We got you. You're not much of a baker. Okay, move on. It's still Masterchef. Learn as you go.
It's either
and they also thought that he chose too easy of a cake.
And that's the thing.
Because they're like saying, you look at the ones that people told, like the opera cake, like the champagne cake. These are difficult cakes, and yet you chose one of the easier ones. But like I said to Doug 218, why have it there then? Like, if you're going to complain that they chose it, I mean, it's almost like a double-edged sword here. Don't complain that they chose that if you're offering it, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Because, as I've said before, when they've done omelets and things, sometimes simple can be difficult. Yeah. Because too simple can also be a problem. You can overcomplicate it. So,
for sure.
Just saying.
You can't. It can't cut both ways. You can't.
No.
You can't say, okay, you tried the complicated one and you cocked that up,
right?
And you did the.
But why did you pick a complicated one?
Why'd you pick a complicated one?
You should have picked an easier one.
And why did you pick the easy one?
Right. You should have picked a complicated one. You can't do that. And then you can't pick by dish either. Like we said before, like with the omelets, which seems easy to do. Like even a hard-boiled egg or a scrambled egg seems easy to do. but it can be difficult to get it done right, and it's a simple dish. So, but they've done that before, so you can't offer it or say simple can be difficult, and then turn around and say that's too simple to do. So it's contradictory, I think. But
well, they finally got around to tasting everything, and Renee. I kind of had a feeling Renee might have been the one to go because.
I didn't actually. I thought she'd be in the bottom just because she had technical problems with her crust.
And
because she remade it.
She remade it.
Because with her cheesecake, when she first made it, the crust was too high, and so she wanted it to be perfect, so she remade it.
Yeah.
But this time she didn't put enough butter in it, and so it became crumbly.
Yeah. And
the rest of it looked nice, and although I think Joe said the cream tastes like just like buttercream or something. It
was like cream cheese pudding with cookie dust.
Right.
And
so. But I did think there might have been a couple that were worse than that.
Well, like Nick fell into that.
Well, because they said his looked like a hamburger.
Yeah. And who else?
Bree's cake.
The carrot cake, our carrot cake girl.
Well, even Sarah.
Sarah.
With her frosting.
It looked ugly as sin.
And the layers kind of bled into each other. But they said the taste saved it.
And really, that was what saved her from the bottom three.
And she wasn't even in the bottom three. So. Like the bottom three ended up being Renee.
Renee,
Bree,
and Nick.
And
so when it finally came down to it...
Actually, you know what? I actually kind of thought it would be Nick. Well, initially.
Let's call it what it is. Either one of those three could have gone last night. Because they had cocked it up right across the board.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So... It all was... It seems like the minutia of like, okay, it's nitpicky stuff,
Although, I mean, it ended up being Renee who went home. But, yes, there was a technical problem with her crust. Yeah. But Brie had a problem with her icing and the density of her cake. So, I mean, it was an all-round technical problem with her cake. And then Nick, of course, also had similar issues. That's why I was kind of like leaning toward either Brie or Nick going home, simply because of what they had said.
Yeah, they told them, okay, your flavors are great, but it looks
like a hamburger.
Like a hamburger, and that's
so
off-putting.
I think that's why it saved him, because at least he had the flavors there.
And we forgot to tell them, like we said at the beginning, it was It was also an immunity challenge, but. For the next one. For one person. And the winner was... Dorian!
Yay, with her champagne cake.
She's really starting to blossom. Brett is really starting to come into his own. So it's nice to see these guys really starting to broaden. Noah's kind of stumbling a little bit, but hey... We'll have to see what happens in tonight's...
Sarah, too. Sarah's stumbling a little bit, too.
And we'll have to see what happens in tonight's
episode. Which is the elimination episode. Even though, somebody did go home, it was actually almost like a mystery box challenge.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So tonight's the actual elimination challenge, in which they make macaron cookies.
Oh.
So it's a difficult cookie to make, so we'll have to see how they do.
You know what? All this talk about dessert, I'm getting hungry.
I know. Do you guys like macarons? What's your favorite cake? Let us know in the description, in the comment box. Well, that is all for today. We will see you tomorrow. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when we upload every time Masterchef airs.
We gotta go?
For now, but we will see you tomorrow. Have a great one, guys. Bye.
Bye.